All right, what's going on? Kevin Holt here, Ball Her Hoops. We're back with another episode. I'm here with Coach Ashley Rivens. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great on this Sunday.
It's good Sunday. This has been a long time coming. We Ball Her Hoops been around for 3 years. This was supposed to be one of my first few guests, but the time is now. It's come. We're here, Coach. Let's get started. We're talking about travel basketball. Carolina Takeoff. How'd you get started with this travel basketball world?
Yeah, I just kind of it was really organically. I moved back to Charlotte after college. I played. I'm from Charlotte. Played at West Charlotte High School. Um, Graduated. Played at Georgia Southern. Finished up there, and when I moved back here for work, I still enjoyed the game. So I wanted to see the next set of girls that were coming through, and no one could really tell me. So I just really started going to games, and I got a bright idea to start writing about girls. I jumped on Twitter, created a company called Ladies Elite Hoop Report. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew how to talk about basketball.
Okay.
And I felt like I've always had an eye. And from there, I had a group of kids that they had been traveling to other states to play for travel teams, but they had been training with me, and they were like, "Hey, Coach Ashley, you should do a team." Now, never in my life that I thought I was going to be coaching no basketball, but
look at you now.
Yeah, it was the kids, man. They we got together, a group of us like 10 kids. You coached with me.
Sure.
And we worked hard, and I told them if we're going to do it, we're still going to play against that national schedule, play against those teams.
Sure.
And that's kind of how it took off.
Hey, you started. What was the first program that you started with?
So the first program I started with was One Dream. Actually, I was working with CBC with Coach Wayne Hinton. Shout out Coach Wayne. Was sitting on his bench as an assistant, and then he got the idea like we should just create something. And so we talked about it, came up with the name One Dream, connected with Sierra Burdick, and we ran it, and it was great. We started with one team. By the time, like 2 year span, we had 4 teams. And it was a great experience. A bunch of local kids out of the Charlotte region, and same thing. We played that national schedule, and at the end of the day, getting these kids recruited.
Okay, so you went to Team United, Team Curry, and you got now Carolina Takeoff.
Yeah.
So it's been a great journey so far. So in the 5 years, 3 McDonald's All-Americans.
Yeah.
I can name them.
I know.
We got Malaysia Fulwale.
Yep.
Reagan Richardson.
Yep.
Talasia Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
Them 3 big names in basketball. So, how do you keep that hunger to continue doing this?
I think it's a mixture of just, I see the potential in kids early, but I also am big on getting to know the kids. When you see that a kid is special, no matter what anybody can say, when a kid is going to be special. You have honest conversations with them early, like, hey, you're going to go through some bumps and bruises, but we're going to work, and we're going to keep working. And then we're going to keep putting you in front of people that make those decisions. But also, at the end of the day, you still have to love the game, enjoy the game, and keep getting better. And so that's my thing. Like, I would love to have the number 1 kid in the nation. That's a goal of mine. Came close.
Yeah.
But, I also believe in other kids in the program that have had great success on the court and off. A thing about me is I really am big, and I pride myself on these kids when they get to college and coaches are giving me great feedback, and these kids are performing at every level. And they can still pick up the phone and call me to this day, whether they're in some trouble or whether they haven't, the best game of their life, right? I always try to make sure that they understand that this is not just a 2 or 3 year commitment. Like, I got you forever type deal. So
love that. So with those players, what separated them early that you saw that you could bring to more life into them? Because you don't just get those kids and they just stay the same. You really develop them, and you get them to be better than what they even probably think they could be. Because some. I can say Lay, for instance, everybody knew who she was, but she had some growing to do in other ways. So how do you feel like they separated themselves from others?
I will say the biggest thing, I kind of got spoiled early. So Reagan Richardson was like, she's homegrown, right? I got her when she played the 4. Back to the basket, very uncomfortable. Confidence wasn't there.
Yeah.
But her mom and her, they were committed. Like, I used to work her out. Some people think it's crazy, but I used to work her out almost 7 days a week. And that was the gym, that was watching film, that was getting a recovery, that was getting in the weight room. Like, I still have notes from her in my weight room, in my garage. And so having a kid like that kind of on the outside looking in, like, we always saw the talent. But to see her actually evolve as a player, like, she went from a 4 to a 2. Right. And, you know, she's having success now overseas. She had an opportunity. She made the final rounds of cuts in the WNBA this last season. Praying that she gets another opportunity this year. Yeah, sure. Biggest thing is she's a professional. And I feel like, you know, I like teaching kids how to be a professional, right? Because this ball stops bouncing. And I'm thankful for my parents. I feel like they've taught me how to be a professional throughout life. You know, I used to hate it. And, you know, I was a computer science major and I've been working in that field since I've graduated. And I'm about to be 40 this year. Right. So it's just trying to teach kids good habits and then having a good, positive mentor that, you know, what you see is what you get with me. It's I'm not hiding anything. And then you have a Talasia Cooper where this kid has all the talent in the world. Right. But she got some things about it, you know, you got to work on. Like, I think her biggest thing is just learning how to play the game, right? And she brought into it. And then you meet kids halfway, right? She was a kid, I would go pick her up. She's 2 hours from Charlotte. I would go pick her up. She would stay at my house. She almost was living with me for real. Pretty much. I always say she's like my child. So, you know, that type of kid, you know, just telling her like, hey, you got it. But now we got to take the next step, right? And you know, she's having success at Tennessee right now. She still has some room to grow. We still talk every week, just about those things. So just, I don't know, just seeing the talent. And to me, if you look like you're coachable, that's the best piece, right? If I can coach a kid, if you're the best player and I can coach you the hardest, you got a chance, right? And the other players look up to that. And then with Lay. Man, I follow Lay since we played her. She was an 8th grader. And I'm like, man, if I get a chance to coach that kid, man. And I always followed her game. And I had the opportunity to coach her last year. And her biggest thing was like, Coach, I know I need to grow in areas and I know I need to be coached. And, you know, I wish I had her for more than 1 year. Right. But, you know, I feel like, you know, I still talk to her and her mom to this day just about things and just how they, you know, enjoy being a part of the program. So it's just seeing kids where they are and then also seeing where they can become and pushing them to that and holding them accountable. And if they say they want it, I'm not going to back off. So,
and I love that. That's a big part that you keep in touch with those players and you making sure that they continue to be professionals, as you said, in life, not just on the basketball court. So, when you're looking for players for your program, what are you looking for in that kid and that family? Because it's not just about the kid; it's about the family as well.
Yeah. So, so with kids that go through my programs, I have to see all of them. I think a lot of people say this kid is good. I'm like, that's great. I'll go see a game. The biggest thing what I look for is obviously, you know, their skill set. What do they do really well? Do they play defense? You can be as talented as you want offensively. If you kind of don't like to play defense, you and I are going to struggle because I'm a defensive coach. But I also know if I say that to you, like if I say, hey, you know, great game, but, you know, I saw you on that zone. You was just chilling. And they're like, I know, coach. And I tell them, you can't do that with me. And if they take it in seriously, then I'm like, okay, this kid has a chance. And then kids that smile when they play. Right. Like enjoy playing the game, enjoying competing. Right. Like I love competitors. Right. I'm not saying I think a lot of people call stuff taunting. And I think it's some things that kids do taunt and they need to tone it down. But man, if you're going at somebody why not say, yeah, I got you,
Yeah.
clap your hand one time. Like I love that because I think
just a
that
competitive spirit.
yeah, and that's how I played like that.
Sure,
right?
I remember.
I was shy off the court, but I was very competitive. So I look for that in players. And then with parents, honestly, like I love parents that come and enjoy the game. Okay. I love parents that they can be quiet or they can be the ones, let's go, but they cheering for everyone. So it's big because I always tell families like we're in this together. We're all on the same page.
Sure.
Right. If we ever get off the same page, we need to talk about it. So, just good people, really, that enjoy watching their kids play and understand like, it's still more work to do.
So with you already building a powerhouse program with the Team Curry, Team United, like what makes the next move to Puma so good for the athletes?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, and I'll kind of dial it back just a step back here. It was always about putting Carolina girls on the map, on the national stage. It's always been my thing. So with Carolina Takeoff, this is my baby, right? It gives me a blank canvas and it gives me the opportunity to continue to create quality basketball in the Carolinas. I'm big. You'll always hear me say the Carolinas. I don't separate North and South Carolina. I think that you get the grittiness from South Carolina, the kids that kind of go out and play street ball and they hoop. And then you get more of the structure and the coaching, kids that have kind of been in systems in North Carolina. And when you put them together, man, it's a show.
Yeah. Sure.
So really, that's it. Nothing's changed. With Puma and Pro16, they came to me in a call, and I was actually on vacation. And it was more so they came to me because of my body of work.
Right.
I think sometimes when you get with these shoe brands, I get it. Like, yes, you have to have talent, but they're usually recruiting kids and not programs. And please don't kill me, these shoe brands. I don't mean it, I promise. But I think that when they reached out to me, it was about, hey, we see what you do for the kids in the Carolinas, and we love that what you continue to do. And it was kind of a no-brainer. They actually reached out to me a year ago. A lot of people don't know, one of one, to run the girls program, and it just wasn't the right time. And I felt like I wanted to get full control again. So like the Carolina Takeoff, and it's very intentional. Like we have the plane, which is North Carolina, the first in flight. And we have the palm tree, which is a representation of South Carolina, right? So I wanted to make sure that people understand that, this is unity. This is about the Carolinas, and getting us back on the national stage. Like, we had Sarah Strong, the number one player, and Joyce Edwards. But right now we're kind of going through a little period where it's some talented kids, but we want to get them back on that national stage.
Yeah, a lot of them are leaving. Like I want to say we have the small guard that's at Mount Verde.
Yeah,
she was really good, and she's now all the way in Florida instead of being in North Carolina. But it's been a lot of good talent in this North Carolina, South Carolina area. But when you think about Puma, how is it going to elevate kids on and off the court?
The biggest thing for me is they're buying into quality basketball. A conversation I had with them during my call was, I felt like I get it. Like the top 10 kids, the top 25 kids, I know they sell the tickets, right? Yep. The social media goes crazy, but it's still some real quality basketball. And they showed me like their percentages of like what they did in one weekend of just like promoting their teams on social media. And whether we like it or not, social media it's a gold mine, and especially for girls basketball to continue to push it. It's needed. And it's ran by people that are in they're basketball people. And that was a big one for me. Just being able to put these kids on a platform where, their work is, celebrated. And so that's really it. And met some of the other directors within the actual Pro16, really good people, been around for a while. And just, I appreciate good people. I appreciate people doing things the right way. because I like to do things the right way. Like,
Sure.
you know, some families might not like it. Like, you know, you gotta show up to the gym. You gotta look a certain way,
Yes.
right? But that goes back to the professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's gonna be fun. You
Okay.
know, I'm excited about it. It's new as far as, you know, it's their first year, but their first 2 years for the boys have been amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they have pros already. So that's a big plus, and they're pouring into the girls the same way.
Okay. So Puma looks like it's going to be a great move for you in Carolina Takeoff. Now let's get a little more back to you. In your past, you've won War Games, one Run for the Roses, had several top finishes in UAA. Of course, you're producing kids at a high level. They're going to college. What makes you different than other coaches, and why should players kind of gravitate towards you as a coach?
Well, one thing, I'm very reserved. I'm quiet. So if you don't know me, you don't know me. I'm very quiet, but I think the biggest thing what I believe in is, you know, I feel like I was placed here. Like this is my service. Like this is what was put on me to do. Sure. I don't know what it is. I get to know these kids. You know, I love them like they're my own. I don't know if I'm doing anything special, but kids do gravitate to me. But I think it's just the passion of, you know, seeing something in these kids and pulling it all the way out of them. And I think sometimes, like, it's always great to see a kid where you're like, she got it, she just don't know it yet. She got it. And then when she gets it, it's like their face changed, right? Sure. And it's like, man, she got it now. So it's just, you know, I'm into the details. I always tell people, like, I'm gonna coach, like, we'll stop things in practice. We're gonna practice, and we'll stop and we'll get it corrected, and we'll talk through it. And I'll let the girls talk through it, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are gonna be on the court. But we're gonna have fun off the court too. Right. I think it's, you know, with a program, it's more than basketball. I want to get back to getting back in the community. Like, I think when we were the first year of Curry, we did like a cleanup right off of LaSalle Street, where I was raised. And it was great to bring the girls from everywhere. And we walked around the neighborhood and cleaned up. I want to get back into that and just doing things like dinner. Like, I've cooked the girls dinner. I started doing like boot camps, where the boot camps was a hit. Where they stay in an Airbnb, and I have one of our younger coaches stay with them, and they kind of get that first dose of like being independent. I still have a video of Ruby. Ruby sent me where they were in the grocery store, and they don't know what to get. They calling me, Coach, we got a buggy full, and I'm like, how much money did y'all spend? Right. But it's always good to see that, because to me, travel ball, you're supposed to look back and you're supposed to remember how much fun it was, right? And how many friendships you built during that time. So
that kind of leads me to this next thing, because you talk about travel ball. Of course, you talk about the college coaches and the recruiting and the processes you go throughout that. So how has the recruiting ways changed in this last 5 years?
I think the biggest thing right now is kids are getting recruited earlier. So with that, especially on the girl side, kids are getting offers sooner. So I always tell parents, like, let's just stay level-headed. Let's keep working, because, as you know, I'm big on commitments are better than the offers. Yes. And I've told you the story, and you've been there with me. I've had a kid that was top 50, and she had all the offers in the world. And by her senior year, she might have had 3. But she stuck it out, and it was some things that wasn't basketball, that we just kind of had to work through. And during her recruitment, you know, we had honest conversations. Like, you know, I don't know, you know, why this is happening. But she stuck with it. She believed in, you know, what I was telling her. She ended up going to the school of the coach that never left her side. And it was a mid-major program. And she broke a lot of records at that mid-major program. I won't drop her name here, but she's my girl. And right now she's at a powerhouse in the SEC. She's doing her job. And she's doing what we always knew, right? And sometimes I always tell people it's never too late right? You know, your path is your path. And then I've had a kid. I like to talk about her a lot because she became NC Gatorade Player of the Year last year. She came from me for 2 years, and a lot of coaches would say, like, you know, hey, we think that she's a mid-major kid, and I'm like, I don't know. She works hard, and they can't stop her. Like, I'm like, they cannot stop this kid, and I'm watching how she competes, and now she's at an ACC program. She's obviously redshirting this year, but just to see, you know, see kids and push them to that level, the recruitment, you always got to stay steady. I think you always got to keep the main thing, right? Just focus on the basketball piece, educate the kids on how the recruitment process is, talking to the coaches and things, but never get too high, never get too low. I think I'm like the person in the middle that kind of levels everything out for everyone. So
that actually makes sense. You know, there's a lot of basketball that's played around the country. I mean, there's so many different platforms that you can play on. There's EYBL, there's UA, there's Pro16, and all these bring different avenues to where you can get to. So how do you choose which one is right for a player, and like what do you think they should look at when they're looking for the right organization?
To me, it's the program first. It's always going to be the program and the people that are in the program. I always say, like, who is that program without that shoe brand? Like, who are they? What type of people are they? Are they still going to be able to help you get recruited? Do coaches trust them? So I'm big on, you know, you got to be with the right people that believe in your kid, but are not afraid to coach your kid, right? That are, you know, I know as a parent, you want to hear all the good things. And sometimes you get upset with coaches and you get mad at things. But if you don't have someone in that program that's not afraid to tell you the truth, that's probably not the right program. I also believe in relationships with coaches, right? If they can pick up the phone and call a coach right now and the coach actually answers or calls them back, and they can have open dialogue about a kid and telling them about, hey, like, I think you should check this kid out. I've been an advocate for North Carolina and South Carolina since I started, if they didn't play for my program. So I do get a lot of calls from coaches about kids, and I always say, hey, you know, that kid might not fit your program, but this kid, you should check him out. And I honestly do believe that coaches, you know, go and watch film and check kids out. I've actually had coaches say, hey, I'm going to a game. So that's important. Just understanding, like, having people that actually have these relationships with coaches. And then programs that they've had kids that have done it, whether they've graduated, whether they're in it now. I think that's important because I think that's the blueprint, right? You want to go to a program where you've seen a kid, like, let's say you got a Samaya suffering, right? That came through. She started with us in 9th grade. She was training with me. And then she played with me, and she's gone on. Now she's at Virginia Tech. Seeing kids like a Aubrey Stevenson that started with us like 6th, 7th grade, that stayed stuck with it, been with the program. She's at College of Charleston right now. She was hurt a little bit, so she's getting her feet back wet. But seeing players that's actually been with the program and gone through the program, and what do they say about the program, right? Like, can that program say, hey, call this kid? What will they say? And then, you know, programs that are going to put you on a stage where you can compete. I think that, you know, with the different circuits, it's a lot of different circuits now, and it's a lot of opportunity. But I think at the end of the day, it still comes down to the relationship that the program have with these coaches. Will the coaches come out and see you? I've been in games where I've coached where there's no seats on the sidelines, where it's coaches, right? And it doesn't matter if you're a kid that your program director hasn't talked to these coaches about. Like, I've seen it. They'll watch a full game and they won't even notice that kid, and nothing bad about the kid, but they're just not there to recruit that kid. So it's very important that you have somebody advocating for your child on a daily, but also telling you, like, we got to work on this and that. We got to showcase this and giving real true feedback.
That kind of leads me into that next question. Even if I'm not the most athletic or I'm not the biggest player and on the court, how can I stand out for college coaches?
Be a good teammate. All right. I think that's a lost art. If your star player is having a bad game, go give them a little tap on the side. You got it. Bring your team together, talk to them. The other thing, play hard. Yeah. Like when I say I was spoiled, like Reagan used to dive on the floor, and I used to be like, "You don't got to do that. you gonna get hurt, right?" Sure. But be that player, right? Make sure that we're in our sets, right? Make sure you're giving full attention to your coaches. And then I think another thing is, like, even when you're having a bad game, it's so many things that you can add to the game where coaches still notice, like they'll take a note, like, okay, that kid did this. And it's crazy because coaches watch a lot. Yeah. One summer, I'll talk about it because she's my girl, Talasia Cooper. She missed our practices because she went out of town with family. And so she didn't start like that first game of the session 2. And a coach came up to me and was like, well, what's going on with Talasia? I said, oh, nothing. She just missed practice. She was like, oh man, she came in and played like you didn't bench her. And I'm like, yeah, because she a team player. Right. And it's gotta be, yes, I understand family and you go do things, but if you miss and these other kids are working, you can't be afraid to sit your best player down. Right.
Gotta keep the standard.
But yeah, but coaches see that, right? And they actually, I was amazed that they asked that question, that they noticed that. And then when I told them the reason, they was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Well, man, she reacted to that well. So that stuff like that matters. All
right. So when families are getting to that point where it's getting towards the end of AAU, how do they kind of take on the recruiting? Because I mean, of course it starts young, but realistically, when you get to that sophomore year, junior year, it's time to kind of start really thinking about where you want to go, style of play, all those things. So what do you tell families and players to look for when it's time for that recruiting?
Well, the biggest thing what I do is the first thing I ask is not even about, you need to look for this, you look for that. I always say, give me 3 things that are non-negotiables when you go to a school. And I always ask the parent and I always ask the kid, because at the end of the day, they're young, right? But their answers are usually different. And so once I get those answers from them, then we talk together. Okay. Right. So that's like a non-negotiable. I need to know the 3 things. Do you want to go far away? Does that matter? And a lot of kids will say, well, no, that don't matter. Usually it does. Because I always say, hey, do you want your family and friends in the stands, or are you okay with them not being there often? Because I think that's a question that you don't really put into it when you're going through the process. You get recruited by all these programs. But I think it's important because I played, and I love to see my families at the games, and I had teammates that families weren't. Yeah. And so I get that. And then I think the next thing is just, I always say, hey, what do you want to major in? And I got this from my parents. They made sure that I picked the major that I could make a living off of, because they understood that the window of basketball, you use basketball, you don't let it use you. So they were big on that. So I always ask them, like, hey, what are some majors you're thinking about? Does that school have that major? All right. Is that important? How important is that to you? Because to me, that's important. Right. And I want to tell parents that for a kid that's been in our program, that's important to me for your child. Right. And then the next thing is, who on the team right now is your game similar to? All right. Like, who do you see on a team that you feel like y'all might have the same style of play? Are they a freshman? Are they a senior? All right.
It makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference now because of the transfer portal, and we're in the age where kids are expecting to play. Right. I think when I came in, we understood you would sit and you got to wait your turn. But I think now when the position, the kids are coming, they're more talented too. And they want that opportunity a little earlier. I think the next thing is how are you with the staff? All right. When you're talking to the coach, do you feel like you can play for this coach? Right? Do you feel like this coach truly believes in you? That's important. And I have like a list of like 20 things for real, but and does it feel right? All right. Like when you're on campus, does it feel right? All right. Like, do you see yourself really being here? Right? Do you, for parents, I always tell them, do you feel safe with your child being here or with this staff if you're not around that they'll do right by your child? And I think those are some questions. I have a lot more. And, like things like this winning matters, right? But are you also a kid, like, do you want to help build a program, right? Rebuild, like sometimes, like programs, they lose 5-6 seniors and sometimes it's a rebuild. Do you have the backbone to be a part of that group to rebuild it? So it's just a lot of things that I kind of throw out there, but the real thing is the 3 non-negotiables for the families.
Okay. So last question, how do you manage expectations of parents when everyone kind of thinks that their child is that person? Like they feel like their child is the one, it's all around. They feel like their child should score the most. They feel like they should get the most offers. How do you manage those expectations of the parents?
With me, like I said, I always kind of stay level. I never really get too high, never really get too low in any situation. Right. I've always kind of been that way. But being honest, right? If a parent is like, well, why is my kid not getting this? And she's scoring 20 points and 8 rebounds a game and this and that. I ask questions to college coaches. What is she not showing that you need to see? And then I give that honest feedback back to families. Now, if I say, hey, she needs to work on catching and shooting, or hey, she needs to work on coming off screens and getting the shot off right away. And if you don't work on it, it's going to be hard for you to get that type of interest from those schools. So I like to give real feedback. I don't sugarcoat. I know areas of games. I see kids and I'm like, hey, you got to work on this. Sometimes it's simple as conditioning, right? Like you need to go run, right? You need to get your wind up. So it's just things of just being honestly, and also meeting parents where they are. Yeah. Understanding, like, I know, I want the best for your child too, right? And, as a junior or senior, we have to be honest. If we look up and you're getting recruited by this level commonly, this might be a great level for your child, right now for your child. And so I'm very honest about it. I'm very, like, your child has a true opportunity here versus I don't believe in kids begging a coach to believe in them. I can't relate to that at all. So that's just kind of what I do. Just be me.
Hey, that's all you can be. You can be yourself. So, Coach, we appreciate you being here. It's been a long time coming. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of people that watch this is going to get a lot of valuable information. Carolina Takeoff is about to join this new group, and I know you're excited about it. Any last words about Carolina Takeoff?
Here's the thing. If you're a kid, you feel like you being under recruited, you feel like you got a point to prove, I feel like we the program for you. If you want to work, if you want people that's going to believe in you, who's going to be there for you, I feel like we're the program for you. We work hard, but we also want kids that really believe in us and families that believe in us. We're going to put you on that stage. You're going to be ready when you get put on that stage. And we're here. We have spots. So please reach out.
Coach said our DMs are open. So if y'all ready to hoop and you want to be in that competition level, then pull up. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for a lot of kids. Great coaching staff, going to get you in high level events, and you're going to be able to play immediately. You're going to get that play time. I know Coach does a great job with that and making sure every kid is getting the opportunity. So again, Coach, I appreciate you being here. Ball Her Hoops. We are out.
Thanks.
All right, good job.
Appreciate
it.
Was that not too long-winded?
No, you were good, coach. You
That's
gave that
sometimes-
information.
I'm not even in the space, and it was like.